everyone, in today's video we're going to make a twist knot headband with chenille yarn. Let's get started. For this project you're going to need a headband. This one is 1 inch thick, a chenille yarn. I chose a slightly thinner one just so that it doesn't jam up in the machine, a needle. I clamped my machine to the table just because this yarn will feed through the machine easily, but the machine will fight it a little bit at times. I'm going to cast on 9 stitches. You don't need any waste yarn. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And I purposely put these black pins in the middle of those stitches just so that I will be able to activate the counter. And now I'm just going to do 90 rows of panel knitting. Go slowly in the beginning when you're working with chenille yarn just to make sure nothing gets caught. And we're just going to do our 90 rows. If you use a thicker yarn than this one, you might have to do a little more, a little less. Do 90 rows, take it off the machine, play around with the length of it. You can always just unravel any rows that you feel you don't need. And the key with this yarn is just to make sure that your edges are always pushed all the way down. You will have to pull on this length from time to time just because this yarn is kind of thick. As the piece gets longer, just give it a pull so that everything is pushed under your pins. And I'm just going to keep going along. I'm on around row 40. So just a quick troubleshoot this right here. You see how this yarn did not go down, even though I'm approaching the end of that row. We just need to push that all the way down just to avoid any tucked stitches. So if you see anything like that, just make sure the edges are down. And I'm giving this a pull just to make sure everything is smooth and straight. And this is also why I did clamp this to the table. The yarn is fighting the machine slightly, but it is completely manageable. Just hold it loosely in your hand. You don't want too tight of a tension. I've done my 90 rows, leaving a very long tail so that I can sew the headband together. And now I'm going to just remove these stitches. Took the yarn out of the yarn guide, and I'm going to advance the machine once just to loosen these stitches off the pins. And then I'm going to put this on my needle. I prefer a bent needle just because it gets into the stitches very easily. And I'm just going to remove these stitches. I'm not going to cinch this tight just to make sure that I'm happy with the length that I made. So now I'm going to stretch this to tighten up the stitches. I am going to pull the first end closed just by pulling this tail, just so that this is a little cinched for when we attach it to the headband. In order to make the knot at the top of the headband, we need to have extra length on the piece before we attach it. So I'm going to find the center and I'm going to tie a knot. Then you kind of have to just slide it down so that it's in the center. And you're going to have to move things around a little bit just to make sure that you have your wrong side facing the back. So we have our nice knot up here, and I'm going to neaten all of this up in a second. We want like our nice side facing out. So even in the knot, make sure you don't have the purl side showing. I'm going to slide our knot down so that it's perfectly centered. I'm going to straighten this out and then straighten the other side out. Now I'm going to make this knot nice and fluffy looking because I don't want it to look too tight. I think I'm happy with what I have. This is a good size for a headband. I am going to now on the long end cinch this up so that that comes in. And now I'm going to attach this to the headband. So I still have my needle on the long tail. This is the tail we're going to use to sew this across. Right now, I just want to focus on getting this corner edge sewn on. Bring my needle from one side to the other, all the way up the entire headband. I'm just going to go back and forth. Try to get under 2 bars. If you go under only 1, you might end up with some holes. That's what it's starting to look like. Now we're approaching the knot. So make sure this is fanned out as much as possible. so that we don't have any gaps. And because we want to make sure this knot is centered, we're going to hold this. I don't want this to shift at all. And I'm just going to go into parts of the knot across like this. It's not going to seal it perfectly because the knot is there, but this will hold the knot in place. And again, try to go through 2 legs of the stitches as much as you can. And just stop occasionally to see how this looks. That looks good. Looks neat over here. And then we're going to start fanning these edges out. And then I'm going to just tie these 2 tails. And I'm just going to hide the tail into the work. Trim these tails. Fluff up anything that got squished. And there it is. It's a really simple, straightforward thing to make. Easy gift idea. If you make this project, please let me know. Please like and subscribe. Bye-bye.